Welcome to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast, connecting real people with expert advice to achieve a healthier lifestyle and live a more fulfilling and abundant life. Here is your host, Coach Tavia.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. Again, your host, Coach Tavia. How y'all doing today? Hey, guys, I got an incredible guest today. I am super excited. As always, I'm always excited. You guys know that to bring you another fabulous guest, a friend of mine that I just, without further ado, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about my guest. His name is Scott Leeper. Hello, Scott. How are you today?
Hey.
Hey. So just a little bit about Scott and why I'm bringing him on. So Scott and I met actually at our health coach school, but what's amazing about Scott is he's done so much more since we have met. And this is going to be something incredible, especially those of you who are a veteran, who know a veteran, who support veterans, who doesn't support veterans. And Scott is out there moving and shaking the world in that realm. So he is actually the founder of Alpha Lima Charlie Foundation. What a cool name. I love the call signs. My husband's a pilot, so he will appreciate that. Jeff will. Yeah. But he's also a veterans mindset coach. And I know in the beginning, that wasn't something you were actually going to do, but you did go down that road. But furthermore, he's an author. He has an amazing book, and we'll talk about that. He has done speeches. He's a speaker. He is a certified health and life coach and board certified neuro-linguistic programmer. And I know congratulations on that certification. I know it's exciting.
Yeah.
And he is helping veterans across the U.S. Access their unconscious minds to make effective, lasting, positive changes in their lives. So a little further details here. So after navigating his own life-altering challenges while serving in the U.S. Marine Corps, was it URA? Is that how we say URA? Yeah, I see. I know what's up. He made the decision to grow from his diagnosis of depression, anxiety, and chronic PTSD. As a result of his own personal growth, Scott developed Alpha Lima Charlie, what we're going to talk about today, which is a company that utilizes a peer-based environment to coach veterans through their challenges. This is great. Scott's work with veterans bridges the gap between mental health professionals and veterans while assisting veterans to shift from a negative mindset to a growth mindset and achieve a happier, more fulfilled life after the military. So awesome. Welcome again.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're going to just get right to it. So like I said, you and I met at the Health Coach Institute. Who would have thunk it that you would be going down this road? I mean, it was probably your calling and you didn't even know it to be out there helping veterans as your own experience. But let's just tell me a little bit about what's been going on over the last year. I've seen you grow amazing. You've set up this Alpha Lima Charlie, and I mean, we got to just dive right into this. What is this Alpha Lima Charlie about, and what inspired you to, other than what I just said, but a little bit more? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I'll take it back to the beginning of 2020 last year. I was asked probably November of 2019 to start a veteran mentoring group at a local VFW. Because the commander at that VFW knew at the time that I was a coach. And so I agreed to it. We started in January, and we still meet first Monday of every month. And it's a smaller group, but definitely making a lot of progress nonetheless. And when we started this group, I was looking for ways to try to grow the group. And we tried doing the Facebook events page, and but that wasn't really making any progress. So I developed a Facebook group, and initially the group was just to raise awareness about the mentoring group at the VFW. But as I'm making this group, I'm thinking, I could actually invite vets across the country and just do some mentoring, Facebook group, and, on virtually. Yeah. So that's what I did. And, I made sure I laid some ground rules. We're not going to talk politics. We're not going to talk about all the craziness going on. As far as like different, we're not going to, there's a lot of differing opinions out there, and we're not going to like add to the toxicity that is social media. As far as differing opinions are concerned.
No, we don't need that.
And so So I laid some ground rules. I invited maybe 60 people at the beginning, and it's vets, active duty service members, reserve service members. And within the first 30 days, 8,600 vets, active and reservists had to actually join this group. So
8,600?
8,600 people.
Definitely a need there.
Yeah. So, obviously I knew I'd hit a vein.
Yeah.
And I knew that the veteran community knew that this was something that they needed and wanted. Yeah. Need and want being two different things. Obviously, if they're joining this group, they know that they need and want it. So, and that group is now sitting a little more than 12,000. Seems to have leveled off about the 12,000 mark. But as I'm doing this, it did kind of hit me at one point that, okay, well, clearly I need to be going down the veteran coaching path. And so knowing that a lot of vets have a hard time with finances, and a lot of times they can't afford high-end coaching. I developed a online member site that is very cheap for vets to get into. But even that there didn't really take off the way it needed to. So then a few weeks ago, I developed a nonprofit, which is the Alpha Lima Charlie Foundation. Okay. And so that one is, so the foundation now is we're in the process of searching for grants to develop scholarships for vets to receive high-end coaching, group coaching.
That's amazing.
So that's where we're at this point is just finding the grant money and starting to employ those funds to be able to start coaching vets. And 1, 2, 3 groups per quarter, 10 people per group. We can. I mean, that's 120 veterans a year at the start, changing their lives. And we've already got ideas for scalability in place. A lot of vets that go through the coaching program, if they want to become coaches themselves, then they'll start working with the foundation to find coaching curriculums, be it where we went through or some other areas where I'd received NLP certifications through, and then they'll start coaching as well. And so it'll just create the spider web effect.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So needed. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about what you're kind of seeing with these veterans. You said they're active duty members too. Like, the world is crazy as it is in the last year. We all know that. And again, we're not going to talk politics here. And I stay away from that on my podcast in general. I save that for other people who want to talk politics. We keep it very low key here, and very neutral. But that being said, so what are you seeing with some of these incoming people that are like clinging to you? I would say clinging to you or navigating to you. What are some of the conversations or what are they actually really needing right now? What are you seeing?
That's a difficult question to answer because it really
combo of things, maybe.
Yeah. There's 4 things that I've identified that, are some of the key causes for veteran struggles when they get out. And that's
let's talk those.
Purpose, identity, sense of direction, and belonging. Yeah. When you go into the service, all of those things are exactly what all of those things entail. And you have a sense of all of that. What your purpose is. I'm serving my country. I'm protecting freedom. I'm, whatever that looks like to you, it's you formulated at a very young age when you first join.
Sure.
Your identity is very simple. It's the branch of service you go into. It's the rank that you are. It's the job that you have. Were you infantry? Were you admin? Were you motor T? Were you heavy equipment operator? Were you CID? Were you MP? So were you active duty? Were you reservist? I mean, your identity can be broken up in many different angles. And then your sense of belonging. I mean, when you join that branch of service, there's always a pride to it. Doesn't matter what branch of service you're in. Sure. I come from an especially prideful bunch, being the Marines. We are,
the
every one of us, every one of us that serve, like we have this, we know that we come from this fraternity.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Of rare breed, and
yeah.
So your sense of belonging is it's there, it's inherent. And then your sense of direction, you enlist for 4 years, and your direction might be to get to the next rank. Your direction might be to complete 20 years. Your direction might be to complete 4 years and get out. But your direction is always, it's and a lot of times it's provided for you. You've got somebody of senior rank saying you're going to go that way, and that's the way that you have to go. So all of these things are taken care of for you when you're in. It's when you get out and you go through these transition programs that the branches of service have. The issue with the transition programs, though, is they don't touch on the intangibles like those 4 things that allow that vet to really actually prepare themselves for life post-service.
Yeah.
A lot of vets will walk around and they're extremely angry or upset or sad or depressed or anxious or, whatever the case is. And a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with combat or the battlefield. And a lot of times they don't even know what's wrong with them. But as soon as you ask them, why are you here? What is your purpose? Who are you?
Yeah. They
can't answer that question. Now they put a face on, why they're struggling.
Yeah.
So one of the missions of the Alpha Lima Charlie Foundation is to be able to help them identify either a new purpose and identity, new direction, new sense of belonging, or rebrand the one that they had before. A lot of them, they just need to be of service again. When they go in, they say, "I'm going to serve my country." Right? Yeah. Right. But then when they get out, they feel like they're not in uniform anymore. They're no longer going to serve. They can no longer serve their country. So my question to them is very simple. When you went in to serve your country, were you serving the dirt that comprises the country, or are you serving the people that comprise the country? Ooh. And the answer is always, I'm serving the people that comprise the country. Well, awesome. Well, if that's the case, how can you still be of service when you get out? If you're serving the people by wearing the uniform, how can you continue to serve the people after the uniform? Right. And so that kind of puts a different spin on it, puts a different face to that challenge, and allows them to think from a more growth perspective. Just that little bit right there. Yeah. Can mean life altering thought processes for that particular person. Right. Right. Yeah. Suicide's a big issue. There's the number that a lot of people hear is 22 a day. And they say 22 veterans commit suicide a day. How that statistic is actually broken down is it's like 14 to 17 veterans commit suicide per day. And then the rest of it that comprises the 22 is active and reserve members as well, because the active duty and the reserve components are included in that 22. Okay. But the problem with that number, in my opinion, is that number has actually it's become a buzzword. People are desensitized by it. They're numb to it because they've heard it so much. I mean, I'm even wearing a shirt that has 22 on it, right? Wow. Yeah. Sure. So I take that a step further. Okay. And I found a different statistic. And this statistic has created more alarm with the people that I've talked to. And that's 6,300.
Okay. Tell me about that.
6,300, more than 6,300 veterans have committed suicide per year. Okay. Since 2008.
Wow. Staggering.
That comes out to more than 82,000 suicides in the veteran community in 13 years.
Goodness gracious.
That is a mid-sized town.
Yeah. Right.
In 13 years.
It's a big deal.
So where we're talking about the COVID pandemic, and there's, issues with heart disease and, all of these different diabetes and all these things that people are like, we're losing a lot of people to disease. Yeah. This is another epidemic that this still needs a lot of focus.
Yeah. And could be preventable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And where that starts is by helping these vets make change on an unconscious level.
Yeah. Which is what you're doing. It's amazing.
Yep.
It's amazing work. Yeah. And as you were talking, I was thinking about going back, when most military men and women, I'm going to say women too. There's women out there.
Yeah, of course.
But we're just talking, do you predominantly just coach men?
No, veterans in general.
Oh, women too. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, great. So men and women, veterans, we get out of high school, right? And they come to your school and they offer you a little flyer and say, what are you going to do with your life after you graduate? I don't know. And at 18, we don't know what the heck we're doing. And you go into military because you want to find that identity. You want to have that sense of belonging. You want to get some direction, if you will, because you're like, I don't know where the hell I'm going with my life. So you either go usually college path, work path, or military, right? Those are usually the three roads we go down. And when you go down that military road, yes, you're taken care of and all of the things, right? But when we get out of military, what you stated was so true. And I've seen it. And I didn't even think about this until you brought this up. I've completely seen this so much where they'll go 4 years and then they get out and then they're like lost. Like, what do I do? Oh, do I go back to college? It's like you're starting all over and you don't know who you are. So to listeners out there, I know many can relate to this. I know they can relate to this. So let's talk about what you, and you talked about a little bit the NLP, the neuro-linguistic coaching part of it. Mm-hmm. How is that a player and how do you implement that part into what you do? Because a lot of people are like, what the heck is that? And why would I want to see a coach? There's a lot of coaches out there, right? But what sets you different by using that technique? And how does that help these veterans, if I will, or military?
So I'll have you experience it. All right. Take for a moment and just think about a moment in your life, a very specific moment in your life where you felt the absolute most confidence, the absolute most joy, the absolute most happiness. And think of a very specific moment.
Okay.
You got that moment in mind?
I do.
All right. Now you can keep your eyes open. You can close your eyes. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But I want you to think about that specific moment for a moment.
Okay.
And I want you to think about what it was that you saw that day. Think about what you were wearing, who was around you, where were you, the buildings around you, the trees that were around you, maybe animals around you, whatever. Think about everything that you saw. Was it sunny out? Was it gloomy out? Was it raining? Was it cold? Was it hot? Right? Think of all of the visual aspects of that moment. Now think about everything that you heard that day. What did you tell people? What were you saying to somebody else? What were they telling you? Did you hear birds chirping? Did you hear the ocean waves? Like, what was it that you heard that specific moment? Okay. And then think about what you were feeling. What were you feeling tactilely? Like, did you have something in your hands? Were you touching something? Think about what you were feeling internally. Mm-hmm. Now, as you think about those three things, I'm only gonna talk about just those three senses. We could go gustatory and olfactory as well, or taste and smell. We can go that route as well, but I'm going to stick to just those three.
Okay.
Now, keep thinking of that moment. And I want you to imagine that you can turn the dial up, like you actually have this dial in front of you, this volume dial that you can turn the volume all the way to 10. So you're experiencing everything, you're seeing everything, feeling everything, hearing everything like it's happening right now in that moment.
Okay. I'm with you.
And as you're doing that, I want you to imagine that you look to your right a little bit and that you see this button that says ×2. And when you hit that button, it multiplies all of those by 2. So everything is doubled at this point. And so you're feeling everything, you're seeing everything, you're hearing everything, you're feeling that feeling of confidence, happiness, joy, like it's happening in this moment right now.
Okay. I'm with you.
Now, compared to 3 minutes ago when I started to right now, did your heart rate pick up?
Yeah, I got and I was like warm.
Warm.
I feel warmer. I feel, I kind of got like a little excitement. Yeah.
So was it a feeling of joy, happiness?
Yeah. Joy, total joy, total like comfort and peace. And absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we just did was you just went into a joyful state. We're having a conversation. It's not a bad conversation. So it's not like you're in a bad situation right now.
No.
But you didn't feel those feelings of joy like you did just discussing a particular moment in your life that gave you those feelings. Right. You access those feelings simply by accessing a memory.
Yeah.
What you did was your conscious mind went to your unconscious mind's door, knocked on the door. The unconscious mind opened the door and said, "What do you need?" And you said, "I need to pull up this memory specifically." Your unconscious mind says, "Okay, I'll be right back." They go to the file where that memory sits, and that memory sits with the files that are associated with pure joy. Mm-hmm. It brings it back. It says, "Okay, conscious mind, here you go. Here it is." Mm-hmm. Conscious mind opens it up. Now you're feeling that feeling, right? Yeah. So what's happening is you have to you access the unconscious mind in order for you to feel that feeling, even though it's not happening right now. You're feeling those feelings like it is happening right now.
Yeah. Right.
So I did this with a vet just a few days ago, actually, and just very simple. And it was just this explanation too. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just explain and this is one very small piece of the puzzle that is a very large puzzle that is NLP.
Okay.
But I shared this with this person as well. And I was sharing it with a few people, and he had to stop me. And it just tears just coming down. I mean, he's just at this point, he just cut loose. Right. Mm-hmm. And he was crying because, and he was crying. He told me, he says, "I'm crying because it has been so long since I was able to feel that feeling."
Wow. Powerful.
And that was simply just from an explanation, a quick, small demonstration.
Amazing.
Of what we can do when we access the unconscious mind.
Right.
Gotcha. So if one little explanation can help somebody access something that they haven't felt in forever.
Yeah.
Imagine what deep work utilizing NLP can do. Change doesn't happen in the conscious mind. There's a reason why they set the New Year's resolution to, I'm going to get back in the gym and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to lose 87 pounds in 3 months. And they say this and they start January 1st and they're in the gym and they do well. And then January 2nd, they hurt. And January 3rd, they're no longer in the gym.
Yep. Right? And we've all done it.
Exactly.
All guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason being is because they haven't become the person that they need to become in order to be the person that they want to be.
Wait. Say that one more time. Say that really boldly again.
So they did not. The reason why they haven't been able to achieve that, and the reason why they stopped going to the gym, is because they have not become the person that they need to become in order to become the person that they want to be. Got it. Okay. Right? Got it. We want to get somewhere. Somebody wants to be a millionaire. Are they going to be able to just one day go from being homeless to being a millionaire? Absolutely not. No. They don't have the mindset for it. They're not the person they need to be in order to be that millionaire.
Exactly.
Right? So they have to become something. The issue is we try to make this change on a conscious level.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it doesn't happen at that level.
It does not happen on a conscious level. It has to happen on an unconscious level.
Yeah.
Right? The conscious mind is equivalent to, let's say, a drop of water. Mm-hmm. The unconscious mind is the ocean. There's a vast difference between the two.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So in order for lasting, effective, positive change to take place, it has to happen on the unconscious level. Mm-hmm. And when you do it on the unconscious level, it seems so much easier because it's seamless. It's almost effortless. It's like when I've worked with people and they're all of a sudden they're just doing something that they wanted to do, or maybe they wanted to give up a particular piece of candy. There's an NLP technique for that. And literally one of my clients loved Reese's. The
peanut butter cups?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I did a technique with him and to this day has not touched a Reese's.
That's amazing.
Because we utilized the unconscious mind to do it.
Right.
So, so again, there's so much more to it But
yeah,
every one of our experiences that we ever have or ever will have is processed through the five senses.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to take something, another piece to this is if you want to take, let's say that there's an experience. Let's say it's not necessarily a traumatic experience, but let's say it was just a bad experience, and it still affects you to this day. Sometimes sometimes traumatic is depending on how traumatic it is. I mean, there's obviously different levels of trauma or whatever. But let's say that there was, somebody got beat up or something. I don't know, just some negative experience that still affects them to this day.
Okay.
And every time they think about that experience, it affects them. They maybe they build anxiety around it, or they have some sweating, or, whatever the case, it bothers them, it negatively impacts them. So what needs to happen, instead of like using some of the therapy methods that are being used, like prolonged exposure and cognitive processing therapy. A lot of vets have had a lot of problems with that. And the Journal of American Medical Association actually came out and said that those two that are being used are actually ineffective for more than half to 2/3 of patients. It was really the journal last year.
Huh.
So instead of, and then I've also heard people say, well, I just don't want to talk about it. Cool. Yeah. You don't have to. I don't want you to. Don't talk about it. How about I just get you to access it, and then let's shift how it's filed in your unconscious mind. The moment in time that I had you access a few minutes ago was associated with joy, associated with pure joy, right? But we have these experiences that are on the other side of the aisle that are associated with trauma and pain and depression and all this other stuff. So you take those memories, and a lot of times those memories are when we think about those memories, like I'll take, you've heard me talk about my dad's death, for example. For the longest time, when I would think about it, it was very vivid color.
Sure.
I was seeing through my own eyes. Mm-hmm. I saw everything that was around me. It was a movie. And so just taking those three for the example, right? Those three submodalities. Yeah. In order to reduce the negative impact that it's having on me, one of the things that I can do utilizing an LP is, if it's a movie, make it a picture, hit the pause button. Dissociate myself. Imagine that I'm coming out of my body and I'm seeing myself in the situation. If it's in color, shift it to black and white. If it's extremely focused, which the negative experiences usually are, make it blurry. And then since it's paused, make it an actual picture, put a frame around it. And then when you put a frame around it, you can do one of two things. You can either shrink the picture until it fits in the palm of your hand. You can't really see what's in the picture anymore. Or you can actually push the picture in your mind's eye across the room to the point where you can't see it. For example, I'm seeing a picture behind you right now with looks like three women, right? Now from here, that one. Now from here, I can't quite tell who's in that picture, right? If that was a negative experience, because it's blurred, and let's say that I was one of them, I was one of the women in that picture, right? And I dissociated myself and I pushed that picture to across the room where that's at, to where I can't really see what's going on. What I just did was I changed how that experience is filed in my unconscious mind.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense to me.
When you change how it's filed in your unconscious mind, you effectively reduce the negative impact it has on you.
It's amazing. So that picture, just so you know, in the middle, it's Janet Jackson and me and my best friend.
See? And I and I couldn't see that from here. You know
I met Janet Jackson 5 years ago, and that's me and my best friend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So that was a good experience.
Oh, it was like, and I have it up there because it's like, she's one of my biggest inspirations. I was a dancer for years and anyways, but so I danced to like every one of her songs, and it was like the best day of my life to meet her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She didn't say much, but
yeah. Typically they don't, especially if there's a line. They're like, "Hi."
Yeah.
Okay.
Picture. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She was really sweet though. She was very sweet. It was actually, that was getting off path here, but long story short, she, the night that I saw her, it was in Seattle, and she, it was the, Michael Jackson's birthday, her brother's birthday was the day of her concert. So she was very somber. It was a hard.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Anyways, but
yeah.
No. Okay. Awesome.
So that right there, like she could use NLP to put herself in a more positive state and reduce the negative impact that her brother's death would have on her. Yeah.
I'm sure she's had to go through some things, you would think, but who knows?
She very well could have. Yeah.
She could have. Yeah, exactly. Powerful stuff. So I want to kind of wrap this up a little bit. This is you guys that are listening right now. This is just a pinch of what can be offered to you. If you are a veteran, know of a veteran, or active duty member, any of those, this is a pinch of what can be offered to you, or what we can give to you through Scott's amazing training. But what I want to kind of end on, or maybe you can share with, is, do you have an amazing amazing story recently that you want to share of someone that's come through the other end and come out amazing? Do you have a kind of a cool story?
I'll tell you, I've got
probably many. No.
There's two actually that immediately come to mind.
Okay.
And obviously for the sensitivity of
privacy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Who it is, but
absolutely.
So one person that I worked with was actually in one of my was in the first cohort that I had for group coaching with vets, and this person was pretty suicidal to the point where they were doing dry runs, dropping their child off to a friend to see if the friend would be able to take care of the child for when they were gone. So it was pretty. They were doing some. It was pretty serious, and and she'd been through mental health and these other things, and so when she went through the group coaching, and obviously when that was going on, the dry runs, this was before the coaching took place. So obviously I know that if there's a potential for suicide, we need to get that person some much more in-depth help than just coaching. But anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So she had said that she was obviously pretty suicidal at one point, and by the end of the coaching, she went from still thinking about it occasionally to not really thinking about it much at all, but she still thought about it here and there. And there's people that are suicidal, and there's people that are thinking about being suicidal, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference.
So for her, she wasn't thinking about it frequently, it was more infrequent, but she was still thinking about it. But going through coaching, what that led her to do was build the courage to pick her and her family up and move across country and start over.
Wow.
When somebody's suicidal, they don't do those kind of things.
Yeah. No. Right.
So that's one. And then another one, she was trying to see a mental health provider for a year and a half, and not really making the strides that she wanted to. And this person, she'd been raped twice when she was in, and military sexual trauma is a very big issue, especially in the wake of the Vanessa Guillen murder. Was it 2 years ago now? Last year, I think.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
MST really kind of took a little bit of a spotlight now.
Yeah.
And so she was explaining to me some of the things that she had dealt with, and she'd even seen two guys that resembled these two guys, but after she had gotten out too.
Oh,
and she had a panic attack, she had an anxiety attack, and ran out of the public places she was in, and she couldn't breathe for like 5 minutes in her car. Well, I had worked with her for 30 minutes. I mean, it was a 30-minute conversation. less than the time that we've been on together.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in quite a while, her shaking stopped.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't feel nearly as impacted by it. She felt a little bit more sense of calm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that the problem went away.
Sure.
It's not that it was this miracle and all of a sudden, things are glorious and she's going to go, be the happiest person in the world. Obviously, there was still work that needed to be done.
Sure.
But what it did was it reduced the negative impact that particular experience was having on her. Now, if anything, she may, after the 30-minute conversation, might be able to go into therapeutic session and actually start making work happen. Then again, she may have had enough of a change internally to where it's just not impacting her like it used to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But, that is extremely powerful when, somebody's been, dealt with something as traumatic as being raped twice, let alone once.
Yeah.
And so those are a couple stories, and I've
fabulous.
A bunch of testimonials where people have gotten anywhere from not being suicidal to just knowing, okay, I've got this challenge, but I'm not really worried about the challenge itself. I'm worried about how do I move forward.
Right. So I always like to say that I took my mess and became my message. And I heard another coach say that once too. And I was like, I love that. And I feel like a lot of us coaches have gone through that. You had a big mess. You've gone through a lot of messes. Mm-hmm. And I still love you. No, but but I mean, we've all gone through messes, right? And that was not a put down by any means.
No. You're accurate. You're accurate.
Yeah, no. But what I love about you, and I love that thank you for being here, because this is why I brought you on, is because you are sharing this message and you're making change with the mess that you went through. You're turning it around and changing the lives of others. That's what I do every day too. We love what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I totally love what I do. But are we miracle workers? No. We're just real people like everybody else out there, right? But what we do is we have heart, we have passion, we believe in what we do. We believe in change, we believe in people. And I see that in you. And that's coming through in what you're sharing with today. So I want to really close this out and just reiterate to the listeners out there that you have the availability to this. You have access to people like Scott out there. You have access to people like me. There are people out there that care deeply and have been there, done that, gone through the shit. And we know what it feels like. And you don't have to sit there and suffer any longer.
And we're not gurus either. We're not this esoteric being that does things to people. We've been through things, and so because we've been through things, and then we've done the work to grow from them, and this becomes it's a do with process. Yeah, it's not a do to process.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, and what you said of doing the work too, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people are looking for a quick fix. There is no quick fix. There just isn't. I mean, you and I have put in a ton of work, a ton of hours, I mean, what are we, 3 years now? I think it's been. And gosh, I mean, and every day is a learning experience, and it takes time, effort, and energy. But again, there's people out there like you that can help. And any final words you want to say to anybody out there that maybe like on the fence about, I don't know if this guy's for real. I don't know if he can help me. What would you say to someone that's like thinking they need the help, but they just don't know how to take that next step?
I also compete in bodybuilding competitions too. And I get people that occasionally they're like, no, I kind of want to try it. And I don't know, maybe I should try it. And my response to them is the same as to my response to people that are on the fence with coaching. And it's quite simple. Try it. And if you didn't like it, then it's fine. It wasn't for you, but at least you put the check in the box. Yeah. The difference between bodybuilding and coaching though is you're going to get something that a seed is going to get planted to where it might not sprout now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But it might be something that in 6 months, something reminds you of that seed planted, and all of a sudden that aha moment's going to hit you.
Right.
Right. So, and quite honestly, what do you got to lose? If you're in a spot and you're thinking, oh, maybe I should do coaching, maybe I shouldn't do coaching. Well, that's probably your unconscious mind telling you. You need to explore other opportunities for growth.
Right.
And the worst place to be in is your comfort zone. And by staying on that fence, you stay in your comfort zone. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Take that step. Work with that coach. And if in 3 months you didn't get anything out of it, cool. You learned. Right. Maybe you learned that wasn't the coach for you. Maybe you learned that I'm in a better spot than what I thought I was. I don't know. Yeah. Right? It's up to you. But
right.
And any experience that I've had working with any other coach, I've gained something out of it. Right?
So much. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So aside from you being just amazing, helping veterans and everything, I did mention too out there that you've done, you're a speaker and you do have a book out there. And I do want to mention your book really quick, called Drowning in Addiction. It's co-wrote with 2 other fabulous ladies, correct? Michael Arnold and Andrea, sorry.
Yep. Andrea Carr. Yep.
Yeah, Andrea Carr. And so I did want to plug that you on and let listeners know there is an amazing book out there that is about what Scott went through in dealing with his own father's addiction to alcohol and what he went through and his own trauma. And so if you are out there and you are dealing with some kind of trauma related to alcohol or drugs, this is a book that would be amazing. It's very inspirational. It might be that first step in getting to know Scott a little bit more. So I wanted to definitely say, and how can they get that on Amazon, correct? It's
both on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
And Barnes & Noble. Okay. Drowning in Addiction is the name of it. Okay, awesome. And then also, how can people find you if they want to set up like a consultation with you? What is the best way to you be reached?
So the easiest place is just to email me at scott@alphalimacharlie.com.
Okay.
And that's all spelled out. Alpha, ALPHA, Lima, LIMA, Charlie, CHARLIE.com.
Okay. Awesome.
I do have a website currently, but we are in the process of migrating it over. It's alphagrowth.org right now. Soon it will be alphalimacharlie.org.
Okay.
We're just since I created the nonprofit, we're now migrating the entire website over to a more donor friendly website. So that should be up here probably within the next couple of months would be my guess.
Okay. So, and do you have an IG handle at all, Instagram, or do you do much on IG?
Yep. No? I'm getting better at IG, but at _Scott Leeper.
Okay.
And it's LEEPER.
Okay. Wonderful. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again for being here. This was amazing. There's so much more I want to learn and so much more I could talk to you for hours about, but thank you again. I'll probably have you on another time. Maybe we can do something on Veterans Day and do a special edition. I was thinking about that. That'd be amazing. And we can maybe even bring some veterans on. Ooh, I like that idea.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, all right, Scott, thank you so much. Have an amazing day. And everybody out there, you too have an amazing day. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Sweet Life Coaching Podcast. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show, please visit sweetcoachtavia.com.